The history of Magdalena, Lioness. Magdalena, Maggie, es Dios de Lioness. August 19, 1920 to June 16, 2016. Magdalena Lioness was a Filipino intelligence officer during World War II. She was born on August 19, 1920, in the islands of Lubuagan in the province of Kalinga and died on June 16, 2016, in Richmond, California. She was 95 years old. Her body was flown to the Philippines and was buried at the Libingan ng mga Bayani or National Heroes Cemetery. Magdalena was brought up in a religious family. Her father was a famed Filipino missionary to the Cordilleras. Before the war broke out in 1941, Magdalena was a 22 years old teacher studying to be a nun in her hometown. This was soon disrupted when the Japanese Imperial Army landed in northern Luzon and started their invasion. During World War II, Lioness worked as a guerrilla intelligence officer and spy for the Philippines Commonwealth Army and the U.S. Armed Forces in the Far East, or USAFFE. She gathered vital information, delivered messages, and smuggled supplies and weapons to the guerrilla forces. Since she was one of those who refused to surrender after the fall of Bataan, she was imprisoned for 5 months together with the missionaries' wives and other officers at camp homes. Lioness was captured and tortured by the Japanese but refused to divulge any information. Her resilience under torture earned her great respect and recognition. During this time, she taught herself how to speak Nihongo, the Japanese language. Little did she know how crucial this learning was to prove in succeeding months. When Lioness was released, she witnessed the execution of 20-plus young citizens. It prompted her to visit towns to see how she could help, even though traveling was prohibited at the time. She once saved Filipino evacuees from execution when she convinced Japanese troops that they came from a wedding. Lioness then proceeded to Manila to meet her missionary friends. From the Cosmopolitan Church, who were also members of the Phil-American Irregular Troops who provide financial, medical, and moral assistance to the guerrillas in Manila and nearby towns. Manila, being the capital, was closely guarded by the Japanese. She also served as a translator between Ilocano and English speakers. Her church, connections, and knowledge in Nihongo were advantageous in traveling and obtaining informations. Lioness was credited for identifying enemy ships that arrived in San Fernando, together with its contents and respective captains. She was the mastermind for the explosion of Japanese planes on an airstrip in Tugigaraw. Lioness gathered radio parts and recruited technicians, which allowed consistent communication with General MacArthur, and it paved the way for his return to the Philippines and the eventual reclaim of Leyte. For her bravery and significant contributions to the war effort, Lioness was awarded the Silver Star by the U.S. Army, making her the only Filipina to receive this prestigious medal. Lioness' contribution during World War II. Lioness worked as a guerrilla intelligence officer and spy for the Philippine Commonwealth Army and the U.S. Armed Forces in the Far East, or USAFFE. She gathered vital information, delivered messages, and smuggled supplies and weapons to the guerrilla forces. She also facilitated the escape of American and Filipino prisoners of war and sabotaged Japanese operations. After the war, Lioness fearlessly continued her perilous missions between guerrilla forces throughout Luzon with notable success. Through her intrepidity and skill as a special agent, Corporal Lioness contributed materially to the early liberation of the Philippines. The document is signed by Lieutenant General O.W. Griswold, Commanding Officer, U.S. Army, an excerpt of Lioness' Silver Star citation. Lioness lived a quiet life in California, where she passed away in 2016 at the age of 95. Her body was flown to the Philippines, where she was buried in full military honors at the Heroes Cemetery. Libingan ng mga bayani pending approval from the Philippine government. Her legacy lives on, not only as a groundbreaking woman in military history, but also as a symbol of unwavering courage and dedication. For her bravery and significant contributions to the war effort, Lioness was awarded the Silver Star by the U.S. Army. She became the only Asian woman and Filipina to receive this prestigious honor during World War II. The Silver Star citation praised her fearlessness in delivering vital intelligence and supplies through heavily occupied enemy territory, knowing that detection would lead to torture or execution.